So one thing I didn't want to do was lock the trunk with the battery disconnected. And guess what I did? Welcome to the shop. My name is Tavarish, and this is Wrench Every Day. Now, Jared is on vacation doing something or other, so it's just gonna be me and you. Well, me, you, and that thing. This is my 1992 Lexus SC300, and if you can't tell, it's not stock. It's not very factory, but I built this car when I was 19 years old. And there are a lot of, let's just say corners cut, but what I love about this car is the fact that I try to do as much as humanly possible to modify this, to make it in sort of my own image, literally. Now, having said that, this car does have a lot of bad things that need to be repaired in order for it to be sort of, kind of drivable. But if you guys are new to this whole series, then Jared actually found this car for me. This was a long lost project of mine, and he surprised me with it. Wasn't that really nice of him? Oh, come on, dude!
What is that?
Oh my.
It looks just like...
Oh boy! I got this car when I was like 19.
I could tell by the build quality.
Oh.
It has your face on it. It had to come back to you.
Wow.
So what do you think?
This is the greatest gift that anybody has ever given me.
Really?
Yes.
Ever?
Yes, ever. So in the last episode, Jared and I went over everything wrong with this, and actually we fixed some of what was wrong with it to begin with. Hopefully there's no animals or rodents in here. Now this is a 1JZ twin turbo 2.5 liter inline six, and it makes around 330 horsepower to the rear wheels. I did have this dyno tuned at some point in the past. Now I don't know if it makes 330 wheel horsepower now. I wager it probably doesn't, but we have to figure that out, and in order to do that, I have to at least take it on a test drive, which is what I want to do today. I've been meaning to drive this thing for as long as I've had it, and I've had it for a few good months. Now, I haven't touched it much because, well, I'd probably get tetanus, and also I didn't know whether it would be safe to drive. And now we're just gonna go over a few things to make sure that it's safe to drive, and then I'm going to send it because there's probably a lot of broken stuff on this car. But before we get to that, I do want to address something, and it's the fact that I do have some more expensive cars. I really like stuff like this, the low dollar, high imagination cars where you have basically nothing to lose. That really brings me back to my youth. Now, that also gives me a good chance to introduce today's sponsor, who is in the business of bringing people back to their youth, and I'm talking about Keeps. So I'm not sure if you guys are aware, but 2 out of 3 men will experience some form of male pattern baldness by the time they're 35. So I'm 33, and you can clearly see that I am part of that 2 out of 3 guys. Now, the best way to prevent hair loss is to do something about it while you still have hair left, but you don't have to go broke to avoid going bald, and that is why we have Keeps. Keeps has revolutionized the way men are treated for hair loss. They make it easy and deliver your medication every 3 months. Right here, this is a 3-month supply. So you can say goodbye to pharmacy checkout lines and, well, awkward doctor visits. Now, keep in mind, prevention is key. This stuff takes about 4 to 6 months to start seeing results. And I'm gonna start seeing results. You're gonna see it on this channel. I'm really excited, and I want you guys to try it. So go to keeps.com/wrencheveryday. You can get 50% off your first order. That's KEEPS.com/wrencheveryday. It's in the link in the video description below. Go check it out right now. So the plan for this is going to be to beat Jared. He ran his mouth about his Supra, his Mark III Supra, which is basically a Ford Probe anyway. That Supra with a 1JZ with the same engine that this car has, and he said he could beat me in a quarter mile or a road course or basically anything. I think I need to knock him down a peg. So what we're going to do is we're going to make the cleanest version of a Lexus SC as possible on a budget. So the first thing I want to take care of is some weight reduction in the front. The bumper is not held on by anything, so if you just give it a nice tug, it does that. If we come back here to the trunk, we'll see that there's not a ton that could arc across the battery, but the battery isn't in its battery box, so let's put that in its home. So one thing I didn't want to do was lock the trunk with the battery disconnected, and guess what I did? Good job. Okay, now that we have that minor inconvenience behind us, you can see that the battery is connected and some sort of light is on in the interior, which is... So now I have to make sure that I can actually see out of the car. We're not going to clean up any of the dash because I think the dash is going to be replaced at some point. But what I do want to do is take out this stuff. I have no idea what this is. And also, I need to be able to see, and this headliner is a little bit in the way. So I'm either going to put it back or I'll just remove it. Whichever's easier. Probably going to remove it. Now we have some headroom, and the legroom is another story. I'll just kick this to the side. So the dash we're not worrying about right now. It's all kind of cattywampus, but this is where it's supposed to be, and let's try to put the key in where it's supposed to go. Gotta move a few things around. Wait a minute. There we go. And those are the only lights that come on the dash. I think you have to hit it like this. Wait. Nope, thought that would work. Okay, maybe we won't have a dash. That's fine. Let's see if this thing starts up. Hold please. Okay, now let's see if this does anything. All right. Okay. Now, I gotta take off the battery charger, close everything. We'll take it for a really quick test drive. Okay. It's a little bit of a insurance here. All right, we have gauges, sort of, kind of. The clutch is very, very stiff. So, all right, now the reason why I'm rushing is because I don't have any fans on the radiator, which means that this car could potentially overheat. I want to make sure I don't stall it. This clutch is just engaging right on the floor. Another reason why I'm rushing is we're supposed to have a really big rainstorm, actually thunderstorm, okay, and I don't want to get caught in it. It's breaking up a little bit. I can't see anything out of the the mirrors because, yeah, they don't do anything. Not sure how much fuel I have because the gauge is obviously not functioning correctly. She sounds good though. Okay, all right, that's some boost. So this has an RPS max clutch. Looks like it still holds on just fine. Nothing to see here. Just a graffiti bombed car with no front end on it. Why are people looking at me? They're acting like they've never seen something like this before. Now the car's probably getting a little hot. See if it goes in the boost. Okay, it goes in the boost fine. There is not a lot of braking pressure, if I'm honest. So this is second gear. Foot to the floor. Okay, stuff is kind of just opening up. Yeah, it's smelling like an incomplete burn. Looks like it's making a little bit of boost, but it's just not giving enough fuel. So it could be ECU related. Ugh. It's just bucking all over the place. But we are not on fire. All right, so based on that 5-minute test drive, the verdict is good. The car doesn't run great. That is a given, but I knew that the car wasn't going to run great. There is some stuff disconnected. This doesn't make things better, and it's just in a general state of disrepair. So what I think I'm gonna do, and I think what Jared would like me to do, is get a parts car. So I'll get another Lexus SC300, and the good thing about them is they are extremely cheap, like especially if you want to get a shell. I'm not sure if I'm going to get a shell or just a really good example, and you guys can actually let me know in the comments what you'd like me to do with this art project style. I do like it, but the paint here, I've seen some comments and people said, oh, you can just put clear over the paint. This is not clearable. This is like alligator skin. This is actually like petrified alligator skin, which is really hard alligator skin. Maybe I can just kind of take a high quality picture and then put a wrap on it, or I could do like a half and half, like a half really clean, one solid color, and then the other half can be this sort of graffiti mess. So you guys let me know what you'd like to see in the comments below. In addition, I'd like to change out one thing that's always really bugged me, and that is that transmission. That transmission is the W58, and those are the 5 speeds that came in the Lexus SC300 and the Toyota Supra, the naturally aspirated version, and those are extremely fragile. They're basically made of glass. So instead of using that transmission, I want to use something called an AR5 or an MA5, depending on what application it's in. That transmission is actually out of a Pontiac Solstice and a Saturn Sky Redline. Those transmissions are basically the same as what Jared has in his Mark III Supra, except they are way newer. They're better to shift. Jared's transmission shifts like a truck or something. It's really old school, very agricultural, and this shifts essentially like a Honda, but it can handle like 700 horsepower. Jared will say it doesn't. It definitely does. Okay, he doesn't know what he's talking about. I'm also going to change these brakes. These are the LS400 calipers, and they're fine for a big brake cheap upgrade, but I actually do have some brakes from my Mark IV Supra just sitting on a shelf. So those are going to go on front and back. I'm going to change the wheels and tires. These wheels and tires are some of the heaviest I've ever seen. These are HP Evos, and I bought these brand new many moons ago. There are 19s in the front and 18s. This is not the front. 19s in the back, 18s in the front, and this is actually a really good setup for a Acura NSX. So if you have an NSX, hit me up. I got some cheap, really cool wheels for you. Whew. This is a little toasty. That's what happens when you don't have any fans. So what I'm going to do with this engine is just spruce it up a little bit. This definitely needs new coil packs. I know we kind of looked at them before and said we were okay with them. I'm not. I think those coil packs are arching. That's why it doesn't make any sort of boost, or it doesn't go when the boost kicks in. So that needs to be changed. I'll also change the powder coating over here, and then maybe do a single turbo, because these twin turbos are not very good. I could upgrade these twins, but honestly, I like the simplicity of a single. I like the look of a single, and I like the sound of a single. So it's going to get single turbos. Turbo. One turbo. As far as the interior, however, I think I'm going to keep this motif and just make it really clean. I like the red, or the dark red wine. This, I believe, is SEM. It's just a spray paint that you put on vinyl, and it's seen some better days. This is also my own creation. There used to be some vents in here that I filled in very poorly with some Bondo, and then put gauges in. So this, I think, is going to stay like this. Maybe I'll get a new one of this and just put new gauges in, and maybe make a real carbon fiber version of this, and definitely change out these seats, at least the covers. But I should change out the seats, because yeah, they're moving around a little bit, and in a crash, this is a safety concern right here. I don't want that. Also, I probably should get some better rails. These are not good. All in all, the interior should be stock with door panels and without any rodents or whatever living in here. But I'm very, very glad that this car is in the condition it's in, because it allows me to do whatever I want. And I never feel bad about destroying cars like this. I always feel better about myself when they look better after I've done something. Hopefully that's the idea. So I think I'm going to leave you there. There's a lot of plans for this car, and I want you guys to let me know what you think the best course of action on this car should be, and how badly I'm going to beat Jared. Is it going to be by like 1 second? Is it going to be by 10 seconds? I don't know. It's going to happen, though. It's going to happen. So that's going to be it for today's episode. I really hope you enjoyed it. I'm sorry Jared wasn't here. He's too busy having a life and going on vacation. But I'd like to thank our sponsor, Keeps, for today's episode. You can check them out in the link in the video description below. But this is me reminding you guys to always make questionable choices. And when somebody gives you a car that you built when you were 19, get it, because it's always going to be fun. Even if it doesn't seem like fun at first, it's going to be fun at the end. I promise. Maybe.